46. This week we were talking, is the MCU back?
Is the MCU back? This is the State of the MCU address. Fucking quarterly edition.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now gathered here to listen to Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. That's what we're reviewing, episode 146. Guys, we did it. We did it. We brought superhero movies back. I don't know if you heard. They were dead and gone. But we saved
Jonathan
them.
Majors killed them with his own two hands.
Oh, God.
I have no comments.
On video, allegedly. But we'll never know.
We have the video. It's out there in the ether, but you can't watch it. Don't watch it.
Don't ask where it is. We're not going to show it to you, but it exists. Damn it.
We promise. That plays into all of this discourse that has been bad and weird online for many reasons. And it got even worse when that news broke. But somebody who is historically just okay online, no, don't look at his previous tweets. James Gunn is here to save the day. Somebody that is totally normal and fun online is here to save the day for Marvel once again. James Gunn's conclusion to the trilogy, Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 3. Are we doing okay? We're doing fine, folks, on this podcast late at night.
Hanging out. We vibing.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing great. Basketball's on. We're talking about real cinema. How can it be bad?
You're gonna get a Papa John's Papadilla?
Not tonight. I have to reward myself for good work, getting all my work done this week, getting all my workouts in. Then I will have a Papadilla. But if I don't do my workouts or I have a lazy day, then I'm not gonna have a Papadilla. So
a Doritos Papadilla. That is. Tej is like the number one consumer of like awesome food on the timeline, and also the number one consumer of garbage food on the timeline. So I don't know where you stand.
I respect the duality of man.
Your palate is crazy.
I'm gonna smoke a little weed. I'm definitely eating that Papadilla. It's got a Cool Ranch dipping sauce. That sounds like right up my alley. I need this. I need
nuts.
I fucking love Tej, bro. Tej is one of my favorite people that I know from the internet, because like he'll pop up and it's like, damn, that's the most expensive plate I've ever seen. Like, this man is clearly at Nobu, or also like he's eating a fucking Papa John's Papadilla.
I need that. And we canceled Papa John too, and I've been holding it down for the cancellation, but I'm gonna have to slide by there, bro. I'm there, bro.
Every once in a while, you just have to have Domino's. Like, I feel it. I don't know. I
got to, bro.
Guardians of the Galaxy. This seems like that would have been a Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 promotion in like 2002, whenever they were putting out like Mountain Dew for Star Wars.
Yes.
Like Blue Milk Mountain Dew for Star Wars or whatever it is. But anyway, I'm rambling. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, 8.3 on IMDb. People love this movie right now. And maybe, just maybe, it's from whence we came to where we are now that people are reacting to this. But 8.3 on IMDb, number one ranked popularity movie trending right now. Still reeling from the loss of Gamora, Peter Quill rallies his team to defend the universe and one of their own, a mission that could mean the end of the Guardians of the Guardians, if not successful. Written and directed by James Gunn, stars Chris Pratt, Bradley Cooper as recording from his closet as Rocket.
Brad Pitt definitely working from home still.
Bradley Cooper, Dave Bautista, Karen Gillan as the most Nebula that Nebula has ever been. Vin Diesel, Palm Clementif, and Chukwudi Iwuji as the High Evolutionary. People are losing their minds over a good villain. Who would have thought?
Also, Zoe Saldana, apparently the highest grossing actress of all time
ever. As well. Maria Bakalova makes an appearance as Cosmo, which we love, and Will Poulter as Giant Himbo Adam Warlock, and has a 65 Metascore on has a 65 Metascore. Hey guys, guess what? This movie did good business. Who would have thought?
Yeah,
who would have thought? After you would say who would have thought, but after the, I don't think Quantumania did quote unquote good business.
Quantumania had a great first week and then just completely died the second week.
Yeah, unlike any MCU movie in the past like decade, maybe besides Eternals, but gross worldwide $318 million as of the recording of this podcast. I believe like as of 2 days ago, that's what they had. I think it's going to cross 400 million easily, and eclipse Quantum Mania very quickly. It is again one of the better reviewed MCU movies of the past 3 or 4 years. 82% on Rotten Tomatoes from critics, 95% audience score, a galactic group hug that might squeeze a little too tight on the heartstrings. The final Guardians of the Galaxy is a loving last hurrah for the MCU's most ragtag family. Tej, I want to start with you. You have had nothing but kind words to say about this film. I think we all do. So go ahead, lead us off.
This film fucking rocks. James Gunn does it again. It's hilarious. It's extremely heartfelt. I was crying. I was laughing. I just had a great time. My expectations were high for this film because the Guardians franchise is so cool. The first Guardians movie I hold in extremely high esteem within my MCU rankings. The second Guardians movie I'm not the highest on, but I know that there are a lot of people that really love the second Guardians movie, and there are parts of it that I really do like, but I was expecting big things out of this one, and man, I thought Gunn knocked it out of the park. It's the emotional stuff, kind of taking the ball out of Star-Lord's hands a little bit and kind of letting this be the Rocket movie. I thought was a very smart and very well timed, given where Chris Pratt stands, and not just our relation to him as watchers, but also our relation to him as people who see him on social media. I just thought that they made all the right decisions. The cast is great. The chemistry between everybody is great. Incredible villain. People are saying this is probably one of the best Marvel villains. I would agree with that. I think people are leaving out how amazing Gore was just because they don't like Thor 4, which I understand why people don't like Thor 4, but I thought Gore himself was incredible, and I think people just wanted him to have more to do in that movie, whereas he, the High Evolutionary really got to cook in this movie, and he was very evil, and I wanted the worst for him. Kind of from the beginning when he first pops on screen, I wanted the absolute worst for him. He made me hate him immediately, which is what a good villain is supposed to do. I didn't want to hear about his backstory. I didn't want to give a fuck about why he was doing what he was doing.
Not a goddamn
I just needed him out of
thing.
here. He was way too evil, bro. I need him to fuck out of here. The soundtrack is incredible. There's an Earth, Wind, and Fire song in this, which kind of made me float to heaven. I did not know that was about to happen. I had no idea. It's just great, and I don't want to go into spoilers yet, but the way that the plot works out with Rocket and the way that the way the movie's kind of centered around Rocket, even though he's not actually the one up and doing all the fighting for most of the movie, it's just brilliant. The best I found the best stuff, the best sequels recontextualize the movies you saw before, and I can't wait to go watch Volume 1 and Volume 2 again, just because so much of the Rocket stuff is seeded throughout, and so much about who we know Rocket to be is explained through this film. It was phenomenal. I would have to give it an A+. I can't wait to watch it again. I've only seen it once. I would have to give it an A+. It's going to do great business. Gunn is maybe the most talented person making superhero movies at the moment, and it not only made me feel like this movie is an A+. I walked out of the theater thinking, man, DC is in great hands. Like this guy understands something about what people that go to comic book movies want to see. The fight scenes were amazing. This is a very violent movie. Like, this is a pretty violent movie. The fight scenes are great, and we probably have the best Guardians fight scene ever in this movie.
Right.
And Guardians isn't known for its fight scenes, we had like the best Guardians fight scene ever. One of the best fight scenes I've seen in the MCU, especially post Endgame. And I said this online, but I would have this as my favorite, tied for my favorite post Endgame movie. Maybe Spider-Man No Way Home would be a little bit ahead if I didn't know about the 3 Spider-Man beforehand, but obviously we all knew about the 3 Spider-Man beforehand.
It's kept secret in the history of movies.
And obviously the plot, the way that they go about the plot in No Way Home leaves something to be desired on rewatching. I don't think that this movie is going to have that problem because the plot is extremely straightforward. And this, you know what it really did? This took a big shit on Quantum Mania, because Quantum Mania, you go to some zany places and you're like, okay, that's cool, I guess. But when you see how Gunn did his sets when we're in the little squishy world and you see it and it's like, oh, this is on a real, like this is real. This is not a CGI fuckfest. This is real. Like, we're in the Orgo world, but it's actually tangible. It just makes you think back to, we were in the quantum realm, and it was like, yeah, the quantum realm is actually not that dope down here. All this CGI is not adding to this film. Gunn is really him. I give it an A+. I can't wait to watch it again. I listened to the soundtrack today when I was working. I just love this film. A+.
I got to do that. That's something that I've kind of made a habit of, is listening to because it just historically, like they've said in interviews, that he'll play the songs while they're acting on set, because he knows he writes to what the music is going to be.
Yep.
And so, or like he writes with music in mind. So it's really interesting that he'll play it like out loud, and he knows where every song is going to go. And so that's why these playlists are like curated better than any Spotify playlist that's ever been curated. So that it's really, really fun.
It's like just a step below like Edgar Wright. Like,
right. Yeah.
Edgar Wright is like, we're writing the scene to the music. And James Gunn is like, I'm writing the scene, but I know what music I want in here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Teach, to your point, and I'm not going to give my review right now, but to your point, there's something, and I've been saying this on a couple of like things that I've been consuming recently, like video games and stuff like that. There's like a tactileness to it, and I think that's really important. Like you can feel that the world is there, that the scenes are there, that they didn't shoot this in the volume or whatever that is that they used for Mandalorian and that they used for Thor. And I don't even know if they used it for Quantumania, but you could tell they were on green screens the entire time. There's something that you can touch almost in this. You can reach out and touch what's in this movie. Not to say that there isn't like a big CGI fuckfest at the end of the movie, but because thus is Marvel. But
there definitely is. But
yeah, but there is something to these Gunn films that he knows the world that he's in, and that's why I think your point of him just switching to go to the other studio that hasn't been able to realize where they want to be in the space is really interesting, because unlike the previous person that ran that whole universe, Gunn really understands what he's trying to make. He knows the material. And I'm not trying to make this a Zack Snyder thing, but I'm just saying it feels like he is completely aware of the world that he's wanting to make. And also not even a Zack Snyder thing. The fucking Rick and Morty writers that they've been hiring for every single project up until this point, he knows. It feels like he understands more than them, and maybe that's the product of him getting to live in these characters for 10 years now, since he made the first film in 2014. Anyway, I'm rambling. Dex, what do you think of the movie? Obviously, you loved it.
Yeah, I've seen it twice now, and I enjoyed it both times. I thought it was really, really dope. I told y'all, like, before we started recording the pod, I'm so tired of like the state of the MCU discourse that we do with every single MCU project that comes out. Every movie that comes out, we're like, oh, is this the best villain since Endgame? Or is this the best movies since Endgame? I'm like, I don't care anymore. Like, I like all the movies. I've liked most of the shows up to this point. Moon Knight was some huff, and I didn't finish.
Absolute huff.
Moon Knight was some huff, but I like most of the shows. I didn't finish What If because animation is not a like serious medium to me. Sorry.
Unbelievable.
Sorry.
Animation, not a serious medium. Okay. But I finished all the other MCU shows and I like them all except Moon Knight. So like I'm not one of those people who's like, oh my god, the MCU has been like just flailing, looking for like a replacement to Thanos and blah blah blah. Like I've liked all the live action projects except Moon Knight since Endgame. So like I'm not a big state of the MCU guy or whatever. But even not being that person, you can tell Guardians of the Galaxy is like an important moment in like the post Endgame MCU, because this is a conclusion for a lot of characters that we came to love pre-Endgame, and like we've been with them for what, like almost a decade now.
Yep.
I don't remember exactly when Guardians 1 came out, but I know
2014.
Yeah, so 9 years now we've been with these characters who
Imagine America still had hope.
America still had hope. Barack Obama was still out here. We hadn't elected Trump yet. We didn't think we could stoop that low.
Yeah, crazy.
But yeah, you know, like these characters we've been with for 9 years now, who we didn't give a fuck about before that movie, if we're being honest. Like none of us gave a fuck about the Guardians of the Galaxy before then.
No one knew the
I had never heard of the Guardians of the Galaxy.
That was the whole point. No one knew. Unless you're a big comic nerd, which I mean, obviously none of us are on this podcast, and a lot of the fans of the MCU as a whole, as it stands now, weren't either. So it just like it was no small feat to make this thing work and be beloved the way that it is.
Yeah, like if you were like drafting comic book properties that could become billion-dollar franchises, Guardians of the Galaxy is going in the 7th round. Like that's not
Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah, like this is they found a Brock Purdy and they made that shit work. Like, you know what I'm saying? But you know, wrapping that up after you made us love these characters who none of us gave a fuck about before, making them into household names. Like nobody knew who the fuck Gamora was in 2012, and now she's like this big important character or whatever. That's really dope. So seeing them get the chance to wrap up these character stories the way that they did was really cool. And the movie, it lives up to the weight of that. Like everybody knew going in, because the actors would not stop saying like into microphones
how much they were done.
Yeah, I'm done.
Like fucking Zoe Saldana, Dave Bautista, so many people involved in these movies were like, get me the fuck out of here. Like, I'm so tired of doing this.
Tired of painting my face green. I'm done.
Yeah. They were like,
I'm tired of making millions to paint myself green. I'd rather
James
go big
Gunn.
Saldana, what are you doing?
She's got the Avatar money, man. She's not going broke anytime soon.
Yeah,
she's
that's
fine.
true. That's fair. She has our other big franchise.
Zoe Saldana, who has made $4 billion on 2 movies that no one gives a fuck about her character in. Like,
facts.
Was like, get me the fuck out of here. I'm tired of making franchise movies. I want to be a serious actor. Don't know why. None of us asked you to do that. Literally none of us.
None of us asked you to do that.
But her, Dave Bautista, who like we've seen do M. Night Shyamalan movies and like a couple other like, you know, like comedies and shit like that. Like we've seen him do some other stuff and we're like, oh yeah, he's actually good. He's better than The Rock, all that, blah, blah, blah. And James Gunn literally went and signed with the rival like superhero company. Like we knew this was it for the Guardians of the Galaxy, and they lived up to the weight of
Don't
that.
leave out that he got fired first.
Yeah. He got fired first.
It turned out to be a blessing for both James Gunn and DC.
Yeah.
Very weird set of circumstances. Like I don't know if I've had or I've seen, and I probably have, like just actors actively being like, yeah, I'm fucking done.
Get me the fuck out of here, man.
and granted, we haven't had a franchise that is like this
dominant
and big in scope where these people have had to commit this much time to a singular vision for that long. So it's like the biggest, you know, experiment in the history of movies.
Yeah, it's like this and Daniel Craig being like, "Give me the fuck out of James Bond."
Right? No, that's probably the one,
and that's it. Like, there's nobody else who's had to do this much for this long.
Daniel Craig being like, "I'm done with James Bond. Here's 25 million." Well, you know,
well, when I said I was done, what I meant was But yeah, like they lived up to the weight of all of that, like coming into it, and that's a really impressive feat, and I loved it. I thought they sent off the characters really well, like not getting into spoilers of how they did it. They sent off every character really well, I felt like, and they kind of gave themselves room to like bring some people back, not bring some other people back, etc. Like they pulled it off. I think the movie it's very emotional, and like we all expected that. Like it pulls on the heartstrings they show you in the very first like trailer, oh, we're gonna tell you Rocket's story, and that shit is a hella emotional. You're going to be very sad. We're going to fucking torture CGI animals in front of you. But the way that they made that into this really affecting cool thing where you're still attached to these characters who you know are about to die because you haven't seen them in any of the other Guardians, Avengers, MCU movies in the past 9 years. You know they're not going to be in the rest of this movie. Like, you know, there's nothing good that's about to happen to them. I thought the way they pulled that off was really dope. Like you mentioned, this movie being very violent. I went and saw it with a bunch of the Apollo guys, and we walked out of it and we're like, this movie's fucking gnarly, man. Like the bone breaks, the action scenes are crazy. It all comes together really well. I will say the reason I'm not giving it an A+ is because the comedy doesn't hit the levels that I have come to expect from other Guardians movie.
It was James Gunn lingering on one. It was James Gunn lingering on a joke that he thought was very funny for a long time.
Yeah, and
it
it's
lingers
like,
a little bit.
And there were a couple of moments where it was like I was the only person in the theater both times that I saw this movie who chuckled, and like nobody else even like chuckled. So it's like okay, I can't give you too much credit for the jokes in this movie if I'm the only one that's like, ha, I get it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But other than that, I thought they nailed it with kind of the character beats that they hit. You know, they give everybody their moment to shine. Nebula becomes like a full-fledged character, which is very hard to pull off. Like she's literally a robot, and they made her into this like emotional character who you like feel for a little bit. Obviously, Rocket has like the whole movie basically for Bradley Cooper to cook from speaking into his microphone at home. Mantis gets her moment to cook. Drax gets his moment to be more than just the big dumb idiot. Chris Pratt gets his it's his franchise. He gets his moments to cook throughout this movie. Gamora, who doesn't even remember these people, is like a legit character who goes on another character journey throughout this like trilogy that she's already been in a character journey through.
Well, it's interesting, and I keep interrupting you. I'm sorry, but it's interesting because Gunn talked about how he felt kind of fucked by how they ended the Gamora storyline in Endgame.
Yeah,
because this was supposed to come out. This was supposed to be the first film after Endgame.
Yep.
And he kind of felt hamstrung when they told him, "Hey, we're gonna kill her."
Yeah,
and,
she doesn't remember any of your characters. Like,
yeah.
So get this shit out of here.
He also said Star-Lord wouldn't have to. He said Star-Lord wouldn't have done what he did in Endgame, which made everybody hate Star-Lord. He said Star-Lord would never have done that. He did not.
Well,
like that shit.
I think it was good that Star-Lord did that shit in Endgame because first of all, it kept Endgame going, which is a fantastic fucking movie, and got us to the important characters who we actually cared about at that point. But anyway, I thought James Gunn pulled it off, nailed it, like wrapped up his story with all the characters that we had already known, even introduced, like if you hadn't seen even if you hadn't seen the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, just watching this movie, you could still be like, oh, I get like Cosmos, like the dog's thing, and I enjoy that character, and like seeing her like arc throughout this movie was still good. Like, oh, you're a bad dog, and then at the end she's a good dog. Like, that's good. You know what I'm saying? That's fun. So yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. I don't think it's a perfect MCU film, and like I said, I'm kind of over the whole like state of the MCU like thing that we have to do after every movie. It's okay for us to say that every like MCU villains are just good now. Like after Wakanda Forever came out, we were like, fucking Namor is just this amazing villain, the best villain since whatever. And then like, you know, now this movie came out and we're like, oh my god, the High Evolutionary is the best villain. Like, oh my god, that's so dope. And I'm like, yeah, we can just say that most MCU villains are good now. Wanda was a great villain. Fucking Namor was a great villain.
Ultron wasn't,
but that was like what?
Wasted
Like
opportunity.
8 years ago? Like
that's true.
most of the recent MCU villains we gotten have just been good. Like we don't have to do this whole like, oh my god, this is the best MCU villain since whatever thing. MCU villains can just be good now. I give it an A though. After all that said, like I really enjoyed this movie. Like I said, went and saw it twice. And if you're a Guardians of the Galaxy fan, obviously you've probably already seen it. But if you haven't yet, you're going to enjoy it too. So, A
minus for me. I'm agreement with you that like some of the comedy, like I'll tell you what I didn't necessarily love about it. Some of the comedy kind of lingered a little bit too long, and it didn't hit the same beats that it normally would have. They do kind of linger on story beats a little bit too long, like linger on certain worlds and stuff a little bit too long. That's fine. Like, I mean, it deserved to be the length that it was. It's the last outing that we're going to see with a lot of these people. I will say, while the villain was good and a great performance from our guy from Peacemaker too, Tej.
Greatness.
I love that James Gunn's just like, I'm just going to work with everybody that I've been working with for the past 3 years. You know what I mean?
I already have your phone number. Why would I call anyone else?
I was really hoping for John Cena to just randomly be like an extra and just walk into the movie for 10 seconds. I was really hoping for that in the back of my brain.
This kind of does feel to me a little bit like a not a copy, but it feels like he was taking things that he learned or did with the Suicide Squad and bringing it over to this Marvel movie a little bit. But then again, the villain, while good and easily hateable, he didn't have to do anything because he was just torturing animals the entire time. So we were immediately going to be like, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
You know, and I guess, yeah, he did blow up a planet, but like, ho hum. But a
planet full of animals.
Right, a planet full of animal people, which was the weirdest sort of. Speaking of tactileness, the makeup and stuff on all those people was crazy.
Amazing.
The makeup in this movie deserves, I think, to be nominated for an Academy Award. I'm just telling you that right now. It won't be, but they really need to like submit it for awards. But he didn't have to do anything besides like. It was very. This is gonna sound stupid because I'm also gonna praise the movie for this. It was very contained. The villain was very contained. I want to get Rocket. All right, okay. So initially, you just have to care about Rocket, which most of us do. But if you were coming into this movie completely blind, you'd be like, "Why the fuck do I care about this raccoon?"
Because he's a poor animal, voiced by Bradley Cooper.
Exactly. That being said, I did love that it was a completely contained story. We've kind of lost the forest through the trees when it comes to the MCU and this interplanetary, interuniversal connected thing.
I disagree.
Well, they got a little bit out ahead of their skis, and even I think Tej would agree with me a little bit.
It was nice to be able to be like, oh, this is just one story, and I don't have to think about how this connects to the rest of the universe. I can just enjoy this thing for whatever it's supposed to be. I like that. I did see, like that.
But when we did Black Widow, we did Shang-Chi, we did Ms. Marvel, we were like, how does this connect to the rest of the MCU? I can't
but they're trying to connect those movies though.
Star-Lord, like
that's their fault. They are putting things in those movies that are trying to connect. So obviously, us as a viewer are saying, okay, let's examine the connections. Whereas this movie,
they're not, and like even Moon Knight, which I fucking hate. I think Moon Knight is awful. Don't confuse this as Moon Knight defense. Moon Knight sucks. This, like, even outside of all the MCU connective tissue shit, MCU is just a boring show about a boring character who I hate. But it's like, people watch all that stuff and they were like, well, like, how are they going to make this person fight with Shang-Chi, like, against a, like, connected villain? Like, how is that going to work? Blah, blah, blah. Like, it's too self-contained.
I
And
think
now...
Moon Knight could cook any of the characters by just putting them to sleep, because he put me to sleep incredibly. No disrespect to Oscar Isaac, who's a great actor. That's the sleepiest, most nasty show of all time. Don't bring that shit back for season 2, bro.
That shit
Get that
is
shit
awful.
out of here, Marvel. Get that shit out of here.
But yeah, what I'm saying is, like, so many MCU projects will come out and we've been like, this is too disconnected. I don't see how, like, all this is coming together. Where's the new Thanos? And now Guardians comes out and we're like, oh, this is its own thing. It's like unique and it's a standalone project. Oh, it's so different. Like, no, all these projects have been standalone projects. That's been the problem for y'all for 2 years now. Like, what are we talking about?
But they haven't.
Ant-Man not a standalone project, but that wasn't our problem with Ant-Man. Our problem with Ant-Man was that the big bad, who was supposed to be the new Thanos, went out like a bitch.
I'm gonna swerve here. I'm gonna audible. No, I think they do a little bit at the end of this isn't really a spoiler, but at the end is like, this is the new Guardians of the Galaxy, yada yada yada, sort of. This is who you should be paying attention to going forward, which feels a little shoehorned in at the very end. But
are there no child labor laws in space?
No.
Is that not a thing?
Not now.
There's no child labor laws on Earth because they're about to have the Young Avengers or whatever that is.
Oh, well, that's true. Good point.
Yeah. So I felt like it was self-contained and it was purposely so for Gunn to like be able to cook with these characters and being able to pivot where this was supposed to be post Endgame to, and I guess it would have worked if it was post Endgame immediately too, the same story. It just is weird that it comes this far down the line. I think going back and after we've had stuff like the Eternals and we've had Quantumania and stuff that they're trying to go more cosmic and stuff. This being set where it's already cosmic and we've all accepted that. And just being like, we're just going to base it around just right here with this like family, I guess. Family.
This found family. What every critic keeps saying about the Guardians.
This Fast and Furious family. And just being able to keep it there, and I just keep saying it, and you may disagree, Dex, but I do think that it's like, we're not trying to really figure out where to go from here other than that final teaser at the very end.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that part, for the record, but keep going.
No, I just think that keeping it there was a smart choice, and I don't think that Gunn would have had it probably any other way. And I think it was great by Feige to literally do a clear out, just like go to the corner and let James Harden cook. You know what I mean?
You're off in space, do your thing.
Very smart design by Feige. Love that.
And I said it a little bit in Teja's review, and just to repeat myself, this world feels real. It feels lived in. It feels like a person writing this knew who the characters were. It really, and Tej, you talked about it too, and I wanted to mention this as well. They really kind of put Star-Lord and Gamora kind of to the side more so than I really anticipated, but that also allowed Pratt's emotional moments to actually hit a little bit. And I'm not saying Chris Pratt is even a good actor, really. I mean, he's able to carry some of these franchise films by just like charisma for some people. It passes as charisma for some people.
They could have made Dex Mario with no training, and the movie would have been just the same. So
look,
yes.
I'm just saying, Kansas loves this guy, and I think,
yeah, Middle America really is tapped into Chris Pratt apparently.
Yeah, and I did think and Twitter can get mad at me if they want. This was some of the dude's best acting that he's ever done.
Facts.
In the third Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
Wow, I didn't even stop to think about that because I tried to ignore Chris Pratt as much as possible,
Right.
but I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Well, look, a lot of people have the Chris Pratt problem. Your mileage may vary, but, and I don't want to litigate that here. I keep saying that word, but like I don't want to, whatever. But I do think that his stuff with Rocket and being invested in this CG, what was probably a stuffed doll on set, if not at times Sean Gunn, James Gunn's brother, who does the body stand-in
tape.
Yeah, I thought it was really good from the guy. Like, look, he's just had to be the funny guy that shoots blasters and stuff, and he gets a little upset at his "You're not my dad" in the episode 2.
What am I supposed to say? Jesus?
Yeah, exactly. But him being emotional over a raccoon got me, and I thought it was good, man.
Yeah,
I thought he was really good.
And it got me from the trailer when we first saw that shit. I was like, Rocket is fucking cooked.
Bradley Cooper steals the show.
Yeah, facts.
And I don't know how much he had to do with it. Credit to the actual animators. This is the first time that these characters have actually looked good, and maybe that's to do with that they have these things on deck and they don't have to go like create stuff from scratch when these studio or when these visual effects houses are overworked or whatever. But everything looked great. Rocket Raccoon looks fucking incredible in all stages. All of his little woodland friends look awesome too.
It's the eyes, bro. They put the saddest eyes on these fucking animal characters, which is an emotional manipulation, but that shit fucking works. I was a goddamn mess about Baby Rocket and his friends. I was a goddamn mess, bro.
When my wife actually pointed out to me, and she saw in a post that made a lot of sense. It was like, how does this look better than the movie that they put all that time and effort to, The Lion King? Like, and you're right, Tej. They emote. They went through The Lion King and stuff like that, and they're gonna do it with the fucking Little Mermaid movie too, where they have all these anthropomorphic animals, and they're like, they don't let them emote. I know you're trying to go for like quote unquote realism in your mermaid movie or your Lion King movie, but you got to or we're just going to not feel emotion when like Flounder is sad. You know what I mean? I'm not going to we don't know.
It's not going to hit the same.
Weird.
Yeah.
And so they let these animals look sad and have emotions. And it really is crazy. And also, how dare you, James Gunn, when you put that little animal through hell and the first word that he ever said is hurt. I was like, God damn it,
you motherfucker.
You son of a bitch. That was like that real. I nearly cried, dude. It's emotional manipulation throughout the entire movie, and I'm rambling, but like, not to jump to the end, to have you cry throughout the entire movie, and then at the very end is like everything is happy. Like, spoiler alert for the end of the movie, happy ending for everybody.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Alert, happy ending. Okay. Yeah. I should address the fact that I was very vocal about the fact that I thought that we needed to pack up the Guardians. Okay. I love the Guardians. Don't get me wrong.
Every episode you have said that.
But I thought we had to pack up the Guardians. But I forgot one key thing, which is, what do I love more than real cinema where people are getting packed up is a happy ending. I am a sucker for a happy ending. Even when, spoiler alert again, it looked like Star-Lord was out of here, I was like, oh, this is the best of both worlds. Like, all the other Guardians will survive, but we can get Peter Quill out of here. We can get Chris Pratt out of the MCU. I'm into this. But then he wasn't dead. And I won't say that I was happy he wasn't dead, but I was fine with the fact that he wasn't dead because all my other good friends were not dead. Because there was a time where I thought Drax was dead, and I realized that it was way more emotional about that than I thought it would be. There were times where I obviously thought that Rocket was dead. I didn't like that feeling, so I'm glad that he didn't kill off all my favorite people, because he killed off all my favorite new animal friends, and I knew they were gonna die. It's like turning on Rogue One. We knew everybody we were gonna meet was about to get packed up. As soon as we saw Baby Rocket and his new friends, I said, well, this is going to be fucking tragic, because these animals have no chance of surviving. And they got packed up just like they did, and I still was a mess when they got packed up. I was very sad. That was
fucked up both times, dog.
Just emotional manipulation throughout the entire movie. It's crazy. I haven't seen it.
And I've seen some discourse about that. Like, I've seen critics who have said this movie was emotionally manipulative, and I've seen people, shout out to at GP Hates This App, big fan of the show, my boy Brandon, who said that like that's a stupid criticism to have. Like calling a movie emotionally manipulative is dumb. Like, obviously it's manipulating your emotions.
Yeah,
but,
every Pixar movie. So
yeah, but like I get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously there's a couple of fake out deaths in this movie, and that's kind of like in other movies that I don't like, I would call that bad and dumb, but it worked for me here. Like, I was just so invested that I was like, that's a cool thing to do, and
Same.
like, it got the reaction out of me they were trying to get, and then the character lived, and I was like, okay, fine. Cool. You know, watching something like The Whale, I'm like, that's emotionally manipulative, because I don't fucking like it, because it's some garbage.
Because I don't fucking like it.
Movies many people have compared: Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and The Whale.
Exactly. Yeah. This
Only
is why you come to the One Take podcast.
That's facts.
Right.
Because we compare these two completely disparate movies. But yeah, like watching something like that, I was like, I see what the fuck you're doing, and I don't like it because it's bad. But you know, in Guardians of the Galaxy, I see what you're doing, and I do like it because it's good, and that's different.
How is it different? Like, we can't really tell you, but it's different.
It's so beautiful because we already have a relationship to Rocket. Obviously, we know who Rocket is. We know, hey, he's angry. We know that he doesn't talk about his past. We know that something happened to where he was created in some weird, fucked up way. He doesn't think he's a raccoon, even though he looks like a raccoon. Everybody calls him every animal in the book, and we sat there and laughed in the movie theater. Thor called him a fucking rabbit. All these people are calling him these different animals, and we laughed every time.
You know why I never got that? Like, I got it, it's funny because it's like nobody knows, but like Gamora calls him like an otter or something in this, or what? No, what does he call?
She calls him something that doesn't make any sense at all.
And it's just like, oh no,
badger.
shit! They wouldn't They wouldn't know what he was anyway. Only Peter would know.
Came from like North America, Earth, all that shit.
Yeah,
like,
they literally wouldn't know. Like they've never seen any of these.
Like that seems like the most no duh thing of all time. But then I was like, oh wait, they are aliens. Like I forget about that.
We know this character, and seeing the fact that he is going to escape this horrible captivity where his friends died, and we know that he's going to go live his literal dreams. He's going to go have adventures with the Guardians. He's going to find new family. He's going to be taken care of. He's going to be loved. He's going to be cared for. Like, that is such a beautiful way to tell a story. And I didn't feel emotionally manipulated, although the eyes of the animals, when I saw the eyes, I was like, all right, I see what they're trying to make me do. But it worked. And so I like that. But if you try to emotionally manipulate me and it doesn't work, it's like if you swing at somebody and you miss the punch, then you're going to get knocked out. But if you swing at somebody and knock them out, well, then it was a good punch. Like, yeah, they fell over. So Gunn knocked me out. So I couldn't have a problem with that. But I also don't agree with you about the humor. And maybe it's because I was a little high. I was laughing a ton during this movie. When the guy is saying, oh, you got an idiot on your team? I got one of those. And he was like, you're doing a great job. But this guy,
fucking idiot.
Incredible.
Nathan Fillion.
Even the dumb jokes where they were like, let's kill that carrot face guy. And the carrot face guy's face is like, what?
He's like, oh, thank God.
I laughed at all that.
No, I'm not saying it wasn't funny.
Movie.
I'm not saying it wasn't funny. And a lot of the jokes did land for me. I'm just saying that, like, it felt like more so in this one than in previous iterations of the Guardians movies, that like he didn't have somebody to tell him like, hey, let's like cut for time. You know what I mean? Like we lingered a little bit too long, even when, and it got a huge laugh out of the theater, Star-Lord drops the first F-bomb in MCU history, that joke went on forever. So like
this is a fitting movie to have the first F-bomb. I still am mad that the first sex scene in MCU history happened in the worst MCU movie. Like that's a punch. That is a slap in the face.
Unsexy sex scene, by the way.
Very sexy people in that movie, but a very unsexy movie. And having Chloe Zhao
zero sex appeal.
Get through the first sex scene is crazy. Chloe Zhao don't even have sex in her movies, bro. That doesn't make sense to me.
So full spoiler territory. We've already been probably spoiling the movie all podcast. What do y'all think about the way that they actually wrapped it up? Because I was wondering, and I said this before, there's a ton of bait and switches in this movie. How are they going to do this? Like, are they all going to be okay with literally being killed off? Because I didn't see another way that they were going to do this, that everybody was going to be like, well, won't they come back? Will they not come back? And yada, yada, yada. And they just literally give them all a happy ending. Not sexually.
Yeah, I was cool with it all. Like, I felt like it all made sense for who the characters were and their journeys to this point through the 3 movies plus the Avengers movies. Like, okay, first of all, obviously we knew that Chris Pratt was, or I still feel that Chris Pratt is going to be back. I guess this is not like a universally agreed upon opinion. He was talking about a theory that like he might not be back. He might be.
I might just be grasping onto that because I want Chris Pratt to be gone, but I don't see any real reason why Chris Pratt would stop.
Why would he do?
Checks.
Why would he ever?
Yeah, why would he not be in these movies? Like moving forward, I feel like it was obvious that Zoe Saldana, she straight up told you, she was like, I'm tired of doing these big ass franchises. I want to be a serious actress. I don't know why. None of us asked you to do that, but like whatever. Dave Bautista was like,
with these franchises signs up for 15 more Avatar films.
15 more Avatars. Dave Bautista was like, I'm over this. Like, I don't want to play this big dumb idiot anymore. I want to do like some other shit. Cool. And everybody else in this movie is like very replaceable. Like Vin Diesel says literally 1 line or 2 lines, I guess, in this movie. He finally says something other than "I am Groot," like in this movie.
Yeah, spoiler alert. I was weirded out by that.
He didn't actually say that, but yes, like it was weird. But I think Gunn was just translating what he said for the audience. But Groot didn't actually say, I love you guys. He said, I am Groot, but it just got translated.
But hearing that in the Vin Diesel voice when all we've heard is weird. I am Groot, and he goes, I love you guys. I was like, what the fuck?
I think he really just wanted to give Vin Diesel another line, and it was a bad, let's not do that. We don't need to give Vin Diesel any more lines. And
I was paying off the Zoe Saldana joke the whole time of being like, oh, just making that shit up, right? Like, he's not actually saying that.
That joke was hilarious, by the way. Every time Zoe Saldana, it was like, he didn't say that. I laughed every time.
But yeah, like every other character except Star-Lord, Chris Pratt, like you were like, okay, they're done. Like they're out of here. They don't matter to whatever the next phase of the MCU is going to be. That's fine. I thought they gave them all like good endings where you were like, okay, I accept that they Mantis has gone off to like do her own thing finally instead of being a part of the Guardians or just listening to whatever ego says, whatever. I accept that Dave Bautista, born to be a dad, not going to be a part of whatever the Guardians of the Galaxy are doing. Nebula going to leave the city. That sounds like a good plan for y'all. Good job. Gamora doesn't remember y'all, doesn't care. She didn't like randomly fall in love with Star-Lord again. Like, good job. You like that? Like we can cut this off here. Or if these actors decide that they do need the check and they do want to come back, you can make a Disney Plus series that's like Gamora and the Ravagers. Or you can make a Disney Plus series that's Nebula and Drax leading the city, like, or whatever. Like, you left yourself all that room. Or if you're just like, whatever, leave them alone, never want them back, it's fine. then you can cut them off here and be like, that makes sense. That's a good ending for them.
I'll tell you what, things get a little rough around the Saldana household. She'll be back. Yeah, like it's not, like.
First of all, she's gonna call James Cameron, and then if James Cameron hangs up on her, she'll be like, "Hey, yo, Kevin, like, what can we do here?"
Well, the crazy thing is now it's like, and I don't want to get into the whole studio system sort of thing, but it's very likely that a lot of this talent is now that James Gunn has worked with, who all seemingly love working with the guy, even backing his very weird public firing that happened during the pandemic and demanding that he be reinstated. It's very likely we see these dudes over across the street. You know what I mean?
You remember how a couple years ago that Bill Belichick was like, I texted the wrong Brian when I was like, when Brian Dable got hired. I texted the wrong James. I meant to text James Cameron, but I texted James Gunn instead. So now I'm in the DCU again.
I don't know what to tell you. No, I don't think that like Mantis is done. I don't actually think that Karen Gillan is done with being Nebula, even though that looks like hell, all the makeup that she has to put on. But
they gave Nebula some shit in this movie, man. Like,
she really got to
breaks and shit. Like, shit, that was gnarly, dude.
She was really cooking in this movie. Like, we haven't even mentioned the hallway scene, which is a shame on us because that is the greatest shit of all time. And that hallway scene where they're slowing it down, Nebula was probably cooking the most, bro. She literally like broke her own neck, or they broke her neck and then like snapped back, and she was just like, she was cooking. She had actual character arc. She wasn't just like a secondary character. Like, she actually had her own shit to get off, and she was beating a lot of ass in this film. Nebula is really her. She is her.
I thought it was good to expand her character a little bit. Almost felt it was too much Nebula, if I'm being completely honest.
Why do y'all always want movies to be shorter? Do y'all not enjoy these films?
No, I'm not saying it should have been. I'm not saying it should have been shorter. I'm just saying too much Nebula.
Movies should be as long as it
too much
takes
of the
to tell the story.
Of the one note. I thought her performance was good, and Karen Gillan is a really good actress because she is nothing like that in real life. If you've seen her give interviews,
she's not a robot.
No, so shockingly, no. But yeah, it was a lot of the monotone. So from a guy that's monotonous, it was a lot of monotone jokes flying around there. But
this is delightful.
I have a huge nitpick. Well, it's not a huge nitpick, a small nitpick that was bothering me the whole movie. So there are obviously parts of this movie where you encounter people that are okay. First of all, we're missing probably the most important scene that I'll get to after, but there's a part where they interact with some people who speak different languages. When they go to New Earth, they see these animal-like figures. I really wish they did not spoil Drax hitting the little bunny-looking thing with the ball, because that still made me laugh in the theater. And if I didn't see that on the trailer, I would have laughed for 30 minutes because that was perfect Drax just throwing the ball way too hard for a little humanoid thing. But anyway, when you go to this planet, there are people that speak different languages. They have a literal robot with them at all times. And it's like, who's going to translate for us? We don't know what's happening. There's a whole scene where they're trying to communicate with a family in their house at the kitchen table, which is hilarious, a great scene, but it's partially funny because nobody can understand what each other are saying. And it's like, but we have a robot. Like, we literally have the World Wide Web here in robot form that could just like literally translate for us. I didn't understand that. Obviously, I know that they did that so that we can have the big moment where Drax is actually the one who knows this language, and it makes him more of a father figure, which I guess paid off. But for 20 minutes, I had to be like, am I tripping, or do they have a robot with them? Like, and Nebula's just sitting there. Like, she don't have nothing to say about nothing, bro. She's a robot. What are you doing?
A scene that was funny also went on too long, like I was saying.
Drax on that couch was hilarious. Definitely did not go on too long. I could have took another 5 minutes of Drax trying to lay on the couch. I could have taken another 5 minutes of that.
No, so they wrap it all up. We haven't really talked about Will Poulter and and what was it? Oh, sorry, what's his character's name? That's
Adam Warlock.
Adam Warlock, who plays a huge role in the Guardians of the Galaxy video game, which is an incredible video game. If you haven't played it, just got completely overlooked because that Avengers game was hot ass. So like, I just think that like, if you haven't played the Marvel Guardians of the Galaxy game, go play it. It's incredibly fun. Adam Warlock plays a big part in that. So I got a little bit more familiar with the character just through that. I wasn't really familiar with him beforehand.
He got cooked the whole movie.
Making him big dumb idiot when I thought they're gonna give Will Poulter like, and I've seen him do some serious stuff. He was in that show Dope Sick on Hulu. He's really good, but I thought they were gonna like, he has really good comedy chops, which you've seen. I thought they were gonna make him be like really serious, sort of early Thor character, and they just made him stupid the entire time. Loved it. I thought it was a great choice. I thought it was an incredible choice to have him be just a big dumb idiot the entire time.
He gave the perfect balance of he looked really cool doing stuff and fighting, but he actually lost literally every fight that he was in, like literally all of them, and then he became like one of the gang, and I was fine with that. Obviously, we're going to see him again, and they put in there that like, oh, they took him out of the little pod or whatever early, so that's why he's not like really him yet.
He was fine Zuko with the way that they did from that. Avatar: The Last Airbender. Like, he got cooked in every fight, hand to hand, 1-on-1, and then he's one of the gang, and he's like unfuckwittable now that he's on the good side. Like,
the bit that I just wanted to mention his character just to say the bit that they did at the very end where they did the literal like God touching man painting.
Oh
yeah, and they made Chris Pratt look ugly next to this literal God is really just a hilarious bit that they did at the very end of the movie. So that being said, they wrap it all up with a new Guardians of the Galaxy led by Rocket, which I said on the previous podcast that I thought like maybe he'll just like give it up because, you know, he's tired, or this Bradley Cooper is tired of this interfering with his art house projects that he's making about, you know, composers from the early 1900s, but early 1900s, in the 1960s. And I was completely wrong about that. He will take a check and have those fund his projects. About
my man is literally working from home. He's good.
Yeah, he's like, this is the easiest paycheck that is going to make. But we don't actually know that. Like, obviously they give him the ending of like he's the head of the new Guardians, but it doesn't mean that we're going to get like any more Rocket. I would imagine maybe
I would be shocked if they did. If they gave us all of that team up stuff at the very end to not have at least 3 of the characters, like Sean Gunn. We don't, you know, whatever, we don't know, but like, not have Groot, Rocket, and Adam Warlock back at it again. You know what I mean?
I think Adam Warlock is definitely back, but like, how do we explain the last title card? We should talk about the post credit. The last title card says I think they said the incredible Star-Lord, the legendary Star-Lord will return. Where usually it would say the Guardians will return or these characters will return. It just said Star-Lord. Like, everybody's alive. Everybody is off to their next part of their journey, but now the only person who's going to quote unquote return is
the
Star-Lord.
Legendary Star-Lord. Yeah, that's a comic book thing, apparently.
Yeah, so a comic run.
Yeah, I read up on this. It's like an alternate comic book run thing. I'm not that big a nerd who has read like the Legendary Star-Lord comic books or whatever. I didn't know about the Guardians of the Galaxy until the first movie came out, to be honest with you. But apparently, like, Peter Quill is just going to be back cooking on his own, which makes sense for Chris Pratt, because it's like, why would he stop? Why would he turn down these checks? Like, he's locked in.
Yeah. That never made sense to me, Tej, that you say, I hope he gets cooked. Like, his agent wouldn't allow that to happen. Like, what the fuck are we talking about? That's but I think that there's something he said something to the effect of he'll be back if, you know, all the things check all the script checks all the right boxes, yada yada yada, which is something that every single prominent Marvel actor has said when their contract is up every time.
And then they're right back.
And they're right back until they kill them off. And he is not dead. He is eating cereal, talking about mowing the lawn at his grandpa's home.
You can even kill them off like Elizabeth Olsen, and they'll be like, well, you know, you never know.
You never know. And I think they'll either put a Star-Lord's going on his own silly adventure, or it'll be something like 4 years down the line. Star-Lord's going to pop up in a team-up film or whatever, or he'll be back for Secret Wars if they still make that movie.
Please don't make him lead the Avengers.
And everybody is going to – no, they're not going to make him lead the Avengers, but it's just going to be like he'll pop up and he'll say some quippy line, and everybody will be like, yeah, like we'll go nuts in the theater.
Star-Lord's back.
Yeah.
I'm not rooting for – I will not be going nuts in the theater when Star-Lord returns to the movie screen. I can tell you that right now. Unless he's played by somebody else.
Yes,
maybe I will.
What the fuck are you talking about?
I might. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm not gonna root for. I
might
never root for Star-Lord in my life.
I might.
I thought you said you weren't gonna go to the movie theater. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I'm in there
with the rest of us.
I'm not gonna be in there rooting when Star-Lord comes on the screen. I'm like, oh, he's back, I guess.
Might pop like fucking Bad Bunny just walked out of WWE.
So yeah, there's that legendary Star-Lord comics. They've made a couple of these books. Old Man Logan was one that I've read, but they also made an Old Man Star-Lord series that's a lot more like gritty and like violent. They'll never do that, but that would be interesting if they just wait a long time. But it's not going to be that long because Chris Pratt's like 45. So like
Star-Lord and Darcy start fucking, and we all go crazy. Like
Jesus,
Disney Plus TV show.
Christ. Yeah, so I don't know. Like Batista's done, Gamora's done. I don't think any of the people that were like, I'm just going to stay here for right now and help out. Like I don't think any of them are done. But yeah, it's all open. I'll tell you who's not done. Vin Diesel cashing those checks, Bubba.
Nah, bro.
Again,
Vin
also
Diesel
working from home or working from the set of Fast 10.
You're recording
Vin Diesel
it into
doing
a
that
cell
shit
phone.
via Zoom.
Is that good? Does that work? Yeah, Vin, we got it. Good job.
I am Groot. I am Groot.
I am Groot. I am Groot. Yeah, I don't have any.
I should mention that when Rocket, they save all the humans, and it's like all the animals are still locked up, and Rocket goes in there, and when he sees all the baby raccoons, I was a mess. All the baby raccoons get on his body. The coolest thing I've ever seen, the sweetest thing I've ever seen. Easy to make people cry. My theater was a fucking emotional wreck at this moment. James Gunn's really him, and I think this is what differentiates this movie from like a Suicide Squad. There's no heart of Suicide Squad, right? It's just like a funny movie. You don't care about any of the characters or whether they live or die. This, he made something to where you really actually cared about Rocket, and I wouldn't say that people necessarily cared about Rocket before. We liked Rocket, but Rocket is now top 5 dead or alive in the Marvel. He's there. He's him. I know so much about him. I know what motivates him. I can't wait to see Rocket again if we're going to see him again, because that's my guy, and I know so much more about him now. And I feel like me and Rocket got closer, and that's what great cinema does.
Well, and it is when you watch this movie, and we talked about it a little bit up the open, and talking about the studio system again. It is interesting when Marvel decided to let some of these. Well, that's one thing we were begging and begging and begging them to do, is to let these creatives make these movies. But the one that really sort of understood the comics and what they were, outside of Taika Waititi making a one-off comedy film, was James Gunn. And he really understood the comics. Now he goes to DC and he's going to make a good he's going to make a good Superman movie like he just is. And
we'll see.
Nope, he's going to, and mark it down. And now it feels like, unless they find somebody else of that ilk, there's sort of a dearth of people that actually understand this material. And so we'll see how that works out.
I just disagree, man. Like, we just saw like Sam Raimi was cooking. I don't care what y'all say. Like
That's
Sam
facts. I don't care what
Raimi,
nobody says. He was cooking.
Sam Raimi did the damn thing with Doctor Strange. Like, and I don't. Maybe the Doctor Strange source material is like that. I doubt it. But like whatever Sam Raimi did to the Doctor Strange source material, like was dope. Making Wanda into a horror movie villain with just some incredible shit that Sam Raimi pulled off. Like, if you keep letting talented directors put their own stamps on these movies, source material be damned, you can get some good shit out of them. Like,
I agree.
But also, we had an Academy Award winner make the worst Marvel movie, and then Taika Waititi
makes bad movies generally. I'm sorry, she stinks.
Goddamn.
I'm sorry.
And then Taika Waititi, I've come down on that movie so hard. Thor: Love and Thunder is not really that great.
I rewatched Thor: Love and Thunder like 2 weeks ago, and I still am in the exact same place. I still like it. I'm sorry.
That's so great.
I had a great time.
Guys, it's not good.
It. No, it is.
I had a good time.
It is.
It's not
it's
good,
flawed.
guys.
It's flawed, but
you think?
Perfect.
You think?
We could have cut out like 7 goat screams, but without those 7 goat screams, it's a perfect movie. I'm sorry.
We could have really cut the Guardians out of the movie too. We didn't even have to do the Guardians part of the movie, but
yeah, that was real weird.
That I had a great time. Same thing with Doctor Strange. I know people didn't like it. I had a pretty good time. And
dope movie. Like, I'm sorry.
Wakanda Forever. I didn't need Riri Williams. I didn't need Elaine in the movie, but I still had a good time. Like the MCU has not been dead. It's fine. Ant-Man was some huff. I've come down even further on Ant-Man after I watched it a second time. But we're getting a new Kang anyway, so we can really forget that Ant-Man ever happened and we can just move forward.
Look, I know I'm in the hella minority on this. All of the capital C film critics or whatever, and most of the popular film Twitter people or whatever are like, oh, the MCU has been like on a downward spiral since Endgame, and like the Guardians of the Galaxy is the first good movie in the MCU. All those movies have been dope to me. I fuck with Shang-Chi. I fuck with Black Widow. I fucked with Love and Thunder, Multiverse of Madness. Thor: Love and Thunder is a good movie.
I enjoyed all these films.
All the films are good. What are we doing? Like,
I would argue that Shang-Chi was literally for 2 acts the perfect Marvel movie. And if they did not do the CGI fuckfest at the end, it would have been held in very, very, very high regard as a Marvel movie.
Yeah, like the Shang-Chi like riding a dragon thing at the end, I could have done without. But I've seen people who were like, oh, the no sleep till Brooklyn scene in Guardians of the Galaxy is like the first good Marvel action scene we've gotten. And I'm like, no, bro. Watching Shang-Chi fucking cook these people on the skyscraper scaffolding, that was fucking incredible. Like, that's a dope-ass action scene. I'm sorry.
Like, everything is reactionary to when you have like a standard good film like Guardians of the Galaxy that's like from start to finish that has met the standard of what we knew before it.
Can we talk about the BC Boys for a quick second after your... So go ahead, finish your point.
No, I was just saying.
Terrible rap. Terrible rap.
No, I like the BC Boys are fine. But are they struggling for money or something? What the fuck? What is happening? Their music is everywhere right now. They were in Mario a month ago. They're in Guardians now. They're also in the trailer for the Kamala Khan movie, The Marvels. Like, can we just slow down a little bit, BC Boys? Can we spread it out?
Gen X is just at the head of the studios. Gen X is making movies, so that's what it is.
They need to relax. No Sleep Till Brooklyn hit a month before Guardians dropped. I know James Gunn was pissed when he watched Mario. I'm like, I wonder if Pratt told him, like, hey, you're using No Sleep Till Brooklyn here? I just recorded a scene where we did that at Mario. I just recorded it, James.
Bro, look. The song worked for the scene that they did. But I was watching it the second time that I saw this movie, and I was like, this is some terrible raps. Like, I get why people make fun of like 80s and 90s raps. Like, this shit.
Go.
I went to the store and I bought
some Coke.
that Childish Gambino like stand-up comedy bit where he's like old rap music is like, well, I went to the hat store today and I bought myself a hat. Like I was like, I understand like where that joke came from. Like this shit, wow. If somebody released that shit today, we'd be like, it's the worst rap I've ever heard in my life.
If I hear the Beastie Boys in another movie or movie trailer this year, I'm going to write a letter. This is too much.
Like
this is too much.
Like if MGK like recorded a song and you didn't know it was by the Beastie Boys, you'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with rap music? Like, why are we doing like if MGK, like if Logic recited some Beastie Boys lyrics and you didn't know it was a Beastie Boys song before, you'd be like, this is the worst shit ever in my life. What the fuck?
I need them to slow down. I know these times are tough. We're in a recession. I get it.
Completely railroaded my point. We're just gonna move on.
But we haven't spent enough time talking about the High Evolutionary in this movie, who I think was an incredible villain, because I gotta say, I've been getting a little tired of being like, oh, I understand where the villain is coming from. He's doing he's making the wrong decision. Like I understand how
this
got
duality in him. Yeah.
Blah blah blah. No, like the High Evolutionary, evil as shit, like unhinged man. But you watching him, you're listening to him talk, and you're like, this actor is fucking cooking. Like he's evil, awful. Don't agree with him at all. But holy shit, this is like really compelling.
Yale trained actor, that guy. It's always funny when like you see these people and it's like these Yale trained, Harvard trained, Oxford trained, Royal Theatre Company in Britain trained actors, and it's just like, what's your role? Oh, I'm a guy without a face that wants to be God in space. I'm like, what?
I'm a space god.
I'm a space god.
Or a step on my path. I was like, yo. That's a
He
bar.
laughed at Rocket. He killed Rocket's friends, and when Rocket started crying, he laughed at him. That was the most evil shit I've ever seen.
You gonna cry?
That was fucking evil.
You win the cry contest.
It's really.
I was like, hey, yo.
He was going for it. He was really good. Chuck Awuji from what did he play? He played like the guy that was supposed to be in charge in Peacemaker, but he was ran by a bug.
The mission, but he was actually a bug. Yes. Yeah. Spoiler alert for Peacemaker.
Great flip in that show, by the way.
Yes, I did not see that coming in Peacemaker. Like, oh, this guy's a bug. Okay, got it.
So yeah, he was really good. Anything else on the movie? Wrap it up.
Go see it. I'm gonna go see it again. Go see it. Real Cinema is back. And I don't know how James Gunn is making a Superman movie. I don't know how that's going to look, but I will be there. Night one, I'll be sitting right there.
I will be there. Facts.
I should say, like, besides the Marvels and I think Secret Invasion, which is coming out on Disney Plus, we ain't going to have anything for a long time, guys.
The writer's strike is here. Blade's been delayed. The writer's strike is here, guys.
Nothing's really in the can except for the Marvels. Like a lot of shit. I hope you like your Marvel content because it ain't coming for a minute.
Reality television, brothers.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Marvels, another person who's Brie Larson's been making some noise that she also might want out.
Yeah, and that was not due to like her like hating the character or anything.
It was just due to the
bad and weird fans quote unquote online. Hey, guys, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Stop.
Also, Brie Larson didn't write Miss Marvel or whatever what's her face?
Captain
Marvel. She didn't write the film, guys. Leave her alone, please. Like, just leave her alone. She seems like she's having a very hard time with and if you're still talking about that film, why? Why are you still tweeting about that film? Why?
Becoming the mascot of like Disney's wokeness or whatever cannot possibly be a fun place. I understand why she's like, I'm out. Chris Pratt doesn't have that problem. Chris Pratt is like the opposite.
whatever.
Chris Pratt's not the mascot for anyone's wokeness.
Yeah, Chris Pratt is like, well, you can't cancel me, bitch. I'm Mario, bitch. Like, you can't cancel me.
That guy has fallen ass backwards into billion-dollar projects. That's crazy.
Someone on Twitter was literally like, is Chris Pratt like the second most bankable movie star after Tom Cruise? I was literally like, bro, you don't even believe what the fuck you just said. Like, don't do that. You know that he's like only in these franchises that we hear about. Like,
somebody
they could have made
point.
anybody the voice of Mario. Like,
somebody had a good point. Is like Chris Pratt is the canvas on which the studios will just like paint and bend to their will, and Tom Cruise literally bends the studio to their will and is the painter. So like, you know,
Tom Cruise is like, I want to fly a helicopter this weekend. Do y'all want to make a movie or not?
Because either way, I'm going up.
Chris Pratt shows up and they're like, today we have you shooting blasters. And he's like, okay. And it's just like, today we have you messing with a velociraptor. Okay, thanks. And that's just like, yeah. Good, Chris. Hold out your hand. Good job, buddy. It's a good acting choice.
God, Jurassic World Dominion fucking sucks, dude. That movie is so
Somebody talks
one of
about
the
how
worst movies
bad
I've
that
ever
movie was.
seen. One of the worst movies I've ever seen.
I don't think we were hard enough on it on the podcast. I know we tore it apart, but that movie was atrocious.
That movie fucking sucks, dude.
Anyway, all right. What are we watching? Anything that we've watched this past week?
I'm tapped back into Better Call Saul. I'm finishing I haven't watched the last 2 seasons, so I started season 4 again so I could watch seasons 5 and 6. So that's kind of what I've been watching. Obviously, I'm still watching Succession and Barry. They're both on their final seasons. That's about what I'm watching right now. And I got my tickets for Fast 10. It's about family. Real Cinema is almost here, guys. 2 weeks.
Oh God, we gotta review that movie. Oh
we do, don't we?
Oh my God. Yeah, I've been watching Theodore Lasso on the old Apple TV Plus.
I've watched an episode of that show for the first time. I think the most recent one. I was like, there's way more sex in this show than I realized. Like I walked in to Apollo HQ, and like a couple of the guys were watching it, like they were catching up or whatever. I had never seen the show before, and I was like, damn, there's so many people having sex. I thought this was like a wholesome, like soccer, like PG show. No.
No, it's rated R, and Tej, I think correctly, but just means I love it, called it Sesame Street for adults. And I was like, you know what? Fine. That's fine. I love Sesame Street. I have also watched a show which I think y'all should tune into. I think it's going to be, I don't think it'll be like the same. It'll hit the same as, what was the show that got delayed? But that was on Apple TV. Apple TV.
You talking about Severance.
Severance. Severance got delayed, by the way, which sucks. But I don't think it'll hit the same as Severance, but it kind of has the same feel, like the mystery of it all. Silo, which they've been advertising.
I've heard good things.
Very good. First 2 episodes, really, really good. It fits into that post-apocalyptic Hunger Games. Actually, it takes a lot from Fallout, the actual game. So that's it. It feels like that. So that's really good. And I finally got around. What?
Which game is the Tom the Spider-Man with Mark Wahlberg movie? Is that Fallout?
That's what? Uncharted.
Uncharted. Spider-Man with Mark
Wahlberg.
My
games. Sorry.
I finally got to watch Man from Otto, which came on Netflix, which is primed to break records on Netflix, I'm sure.
Wait, really?
Man from Otto, did you watch that?
No, but is it doing really well? Like, and it seems like one of those movies is going to have a great streaming life.
It's like the number 1 movie in the world right now is Man from Otto, which came out last year, and it did okay at the box office. But Tom Hanks just unfortunately doesn't have the juice that he used to.
Is it good?
I mean, it's been 50 years.
Yeah, I mean, he's been great.
Fair.
Like, but he's not like, Tom Cruise is still breaking box office records. Tom Hanks is like, I'll play an old man in this movie, and just an interesting sort of career trajectory, and kind of how it was always going to play out, I guess, for those two. But it is good. I haven't seen what the film that it's originally based on, and I haven't read the book. It's cry porn.
Yeah, someone told me that they were
the
crying all
trailer.
night watching that movie. Someone told me that.
It's cry porn. A few of the messages are a little forced, but all in all, a good movie that I think people that might not otherwise watch a movie like this are going to watch, and your mom and dad are going to love this movie.
Yeah, it seemed like that. When I saw the trailer in movie theaters before other movies for months, and I was like, this seems like a streaming movie. I don't know why they put it in theaters and like tried to make it this big box office thing it was never going to be. But hey, if it's on Netflix now, I'm sure a lot of people are watching it and enjoying it, and that's okay. Good for y'all.
You can do worse. I'm genuinely serious. Like, you can do worse than like on a Tuesday night, like popping it on. It's like a good 2 hours. Just yeah.
Okay.
So watch that. I don't know what other movies or anything that I watched. I told y'all I finally watched Plane. Oh, Caitlin and I, me too. Indian matchmaking is back, baby.
Great television. Great television. Yeah. They also have Jewish matchmaking now.
Oh shit!
I'm sure I'll watch.
They have Jewish matchmaking. Yeah.
I was locked into season 1 of Indian matchmaking. Season 2 came out, and I got like 2 or 3 episodes in and fell off. Are they back for season 3 already?
Season 3, yeah.
God damn. Okay.
Shit. Is the hardest working person in show business, that auntie.
Is the chick from Houston still on there? Because that's part of why I was locked in for season 1.
No, I don't think so. I think they're like following around a couple from New York or something like that. But
I think she might have moved to New York or something.
I don't know.
Point. But anyway, I might need to tap back in because I was locked into season 1 of Indian matchmaking, but I think that was like either right before or during the pandemic. So like it took a lot less to get me locked in to a television show at that point.
Hey, get used to it because this is what we're gonna have for another year, brother.
Reality TV, get into it.
But yeah, I recently went to theaters and saw Are You There, Goddess Me Margaret, which I got advertisements for across every platform that I visited for like 2 months beforehand. And then the movie actually banged. It was really, really good. I've never read the book. It's a coming of age book for like teenage girls or whatever. So like I never read it. But the movie is actually like just delightful. It's a story about this like 6th grader, like, who is like learning about herself and about, becoming of age, basically.
Am I having deja vu, or did you talk about this movie?
Talked about this last episode. Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was deja vu.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I saw that. Saw Polite Society. Did I talk about that last episode too?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So yeah, go see those movies. Still no one has seen them. I've been rewatching The Hunger Games because the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, or Snakes and Songbirds, or whatever it's called. I know
you said that trailer did it for you, Dex. That looks awful.
Shut up.
That shit. As a Hunger Games stan and a person that consumed all the books and everything, that trailer looks terrible.
I also watched all the movies and read all the books, and I also is the new movie also based on a book? Did they make like a prequel book, or are they just
she's writing another book?
Oh, I don't know that the trailer didn't move me much either, except for the fact that one of the characters from Euphoria is in it, which is awesome.
Well, our boy,
which one?
Jen, is that her name? Jules is in it. Jules is in the trailer.
She's
in the film. And also, what's her face is in the movie getting big checks, which I always appreciate.
My queen from West Side Story is out here again.
Oh, that's right, she's in it too. Ava DuBose or whatever her name is.
No. Rachel Zegler.
Oh,
the younger one. Ariana DeBose is an Oscar winner. We would have led with that. But
That's true. That's true.
but Rachel Zegler is back out here. So I saw the trailer for that and I was like, let me go rewatch the Hunger Games. I haven't watched this movie since they came out. I watched all of them in theaters one time when they came out and haven't really thought that much about them since. So I was like, let me go rewatch them. And I've only gotten through the first two so far, but they're way better than I remember them being.
Yeah. The first two especially.
The second one, like, this fucking bangs, dude. Like,
incredible blockbuster movie, honestly.
And like a perfect sequel escalation. It's like, the first one it's the Hunger Games. Cool. And then the second one, it's like Hunger Games All-Stars. Like that shit just rules, dude.
The last two, they shouldn't have split the last one into
should not have split it. I remember that movies. From when I first saw it, like in college.
That third one is the most boring movie for like we're killing teenagers that I've ever seen.
Yeah, we're wasting time so we can get you to the second one. Like,
and the second
realized that the split was bad. Like,
and the fourth one, and I know we're going long here, but the fourth one, it's like, hey, you want to be depressed? You're gonna, and it's like, ooh, man. So
is the new one a prequel or a sequel?
Prequel.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah. I don't remember her name, but she wrote a prequel book. They're making that book. Susanna Collins. They're making the prequel book into a prequel movie. Viola Davis is in it, I'm pretty sure.
Get that check, Viola. Get that check.
She is there. Like, it doesn't matter what it is.
She's going for it.
I will be Michael Jordan's mom. I will start the Hunger Games. I will do whatever.
I will be the third lead in a DCEU movie that doesn't matter.
Yeah, and they're going to make into like her own spinoff show, apparently. But anyway, so yeah, I've been rewatching Hunger Games. Those are good. The first two, at least. I'll let you know about the third and the fourth one. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me. So go watch movies.
So, Tom Cruise, see you at the movies. That movie comes out really soon, by the way.
Not soon enough.
Time. It's almost time.
They needed another trailer for that one. I know y'all don't like second trailers, but I'm tired of the trailer that doesn't have any words in it.
I saw the second Oppenheimer trailer, and I know this is going to sound stupid because the film is based on historical events, but the second trailer gave up way too many plot details. And I'm starting to really fucking hate that they do that in second trailers. And I'm about to start avoiding all second trailers.
No to second trailers. You don't need them.
Hate it, man. I don't want plot points, bro. I don't.
If you already know you're going to go see the movie, don't watch the second trailer. Doesn't matter.
Right. That's just
spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. And I told you.
Okay. First of all, we just saw Quentin Tarantino change history in a blockbuster movie, so it could be the case that
multiple
the atomic bomb is created but never used. I don't know what's going to happen. And so when they start laying out the
they
plot,
might
and it's like
lock Oppenheimer in a theater and shoot.
They're like, we have to move all these scientists we're going to hire. We have to move them into the village. It was like, okay, that's a plot point. I didn't need to know that I'm going to see this movie. Just have them talking over loud sounds. That's all I needed. I didn't need.
You know about the Manhattan Project, man. The public school system is really going downhill.
I knew about Hitler too, and then fucking Inglourious Basterds happened.
You think Christopher Nolan is gonna?
Yes, he changed space and time. You saw the end of that really bad movie that he made, where he changed space and time. That's not canon.
It's not a historical event.
Once upon a time in Hollywood happened.
He changed Dunkirk, where it's like, hey guys, guess what? Nazis never even showed up. I don't know what we're doing.
I don't know what we were all worried about, actually.
Yeah, it's all fine.
Imagine watching Tenet and you have no idea shit's just going backwards now. Like, it's a completely different movie.
I tell you, still don't. Never finish the movie.
Anyway,
I'm about to tap back into Tenet so I can get ready for Oppenheimer. I'm definitely tapping back into Tenet.
Hey, bro, Tenet is real cinema. Y'all, like, it got lost in like the dustbin of history, like with the pandemic. But Tenet is real cinema.
You'd be better served watching Inception for this movie than you would for Tenet. I just guarantee it.
I've only seen Tenet once, and I didn't understand half the dialogue. But when I turn those subtitles on, I'm gonna have a great time. I can't wait.
That is the endorsement that every filmmaker I think wants and needs.
You can.
I know
Honestly,
you can't hear my
watch
shit.
it on mute. Doesn't matter.
Real cinema.
All right. You can find us at a One Take Podcast on Twitter, One Take Podcast on Instagram, as well as TikTok, the like. You can find us at @les_humble_teach, at Lord Dex Hinton, and at Royden Ogletree on Twitter, as long as that website still exists. Not for long. And yeah, go like, download, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit that bell icon if you want to watch this live whenever we air our live episodes. Thank you very much. Dex, what are we doing?
#Sport Florence Pugh. Dune 2 is coming. The trailer.
Oh yeah, we never talked about the trailer.
The trailer dropped. Y'all really like it. I'm still very confused, but I'm gonna be there night one regardless. Doesn't matter. So #Sport Florence Pugh.
All right, we're out. Don't do space